The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Game Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the pro code SGPN, the $1,000 bonus credit. And welcome, everybody, to the NBA Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Game Podcast Network. It's currently Friday morning, April 25th, roughly 11 Eastern Time. I'm Rose episode Scout Reichel, joining Gamble and Lonte Smith together to break down the Friday games for the NBA card. Lonte, how's it going with you? How do you enjoy your Thursday game action?
Not bad, man. It was pretty interesting, actually, except for the last game. With the last game being the Celtics and not Celtics, the
Clippers,
Nuggets and Clippers, yeah. But overall, man, pretty good. I felt good about the picks yesterday. Felt good about the analysis. So ready to go into the weekend.
Yeah, so two things. First of all, turns out the NBA's heat check of putting the Clippers on NBA TV was the smart decision.
Right.
That was easily the worst game on the card yesterday, so that game was over quickly. So nice job of the Clippers taking control of the series, basically. Still, once again, 2-1. We'll see if Denver can steal home court back, but damn, that team looked awful. A Joker at 26, 13, and 13, and they only scored 83 points, which sounds almost impossible, but that happened. So there you go. You saw the Clippers coast to a nice, easy win by what felt like 30. Game went under, though. That was my lock as the game died in the second half.
Yes, sir.
So definitely happy that got there. Did lose the Pistons first half on the spread. Thought they'd be off to a better start. Actually had a decent run, though, in the second quarter, and then kind of fell apart, though, down the stretch. Then they made it a game again. It was kind of rinse and repeat. Yeah, every time Detroit made it close, they fell apart, and the Knicks eventually did win the game. Shout out to the Times keeper, though, who tried to, create an all-time scandal there. But either way, point is the Knicks did hold on anyways. They won the game.
Apparently, apparently I was listening to Windhorse Pod, and apparently the refs actually do the clock. So it's not the opposing teams. Yeah, that's according to them. That's their reporting. I mean, they follow the NBA at a
either way.
Level,
point is, though, the Knicks went from intentionally missing a free throw, smart move by Brunson, by the way, to force a full court heave from Detroit because they had no timeouts, into Detroit getting an out-of-bounds inbound with 0.5. Now, they still have to go the full length of the floor, which is definitely not ideal, but that was a whole just insane circumstance to end the game. But either way, the Knicks did win, so nice job by them. And they covered. They're laying 1.5. They won by 2. Cat did his part. He played very well from the get-go. Brunson closed it. Mr. Clutch Player of the Year came through. Nice job by him. Besides that, though, I do have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the really, how do I phrase this? The really bad collapse by the Grizzlies in that game. I know one of us had the Grizzlies money line. It was not me, but I will narrow it down. How do you feel after being up 29 with the heat check of all heat check dog plays, just to watch Ja get injured and the Grizzlies to fall apart? How do you feel?
Sucks, man. It really does. Especially for, I thought they just came out with a lot of energy. I mean, they were doing some of the things that I thought they would need to do. They put some pressure on OKC. It just wasn't enough. I mean, when Ja went down, obviously I was hammering OKC live because it did not look good. You could tell on those free throws. Tough loss, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. If you still just narrow it down, I bet first quarter, first half, both money line and spread. So that's 4-1. But really 5-1 if you count
for the show. 18. I tried to give you a life wrap.
Yeah, I know. I know. I tried. Yeah, it's okay. But I'll take it. It's fine. I don't feel bad about it. I mean, they still had a chance to win it, even in the end. They kind of just, they couldn't do anything. I think they had 31 points in the second half.
It was a mess.
The defensive effort that the OKC showed and put on was literally. I think the Timberwolves defense in games 1 and 2 against Denver last year were really, really elite. Mm-hmm. But this one, on the road, down almost 30, they put on a show defensively.
They couldn't dribble the ball. Caruso was tipping every pass. He had a bunch of steals in the fourth quarter. I thought Caruso was incredible.
He was.
And Chet was really good offensively in the second half.
Yeah, and just credit to them. They were playing like they were down 0-2. Granted, they dug themselves that hole.
Yeah.
But they could have easily just been you know what? Oh well, we're down 29. It's their night. Whatever, just go through the motions and get it. But they fought and they fought and they got back to what they were doing defensively, forcing those turnovers. And I mean, really elite performance. I don't want to take anything away from OKC, but generally, collapse happens. It has to happen both ways. And Memphis collapsed, and OKC took full force. And I mean, credit to them. And that defense was unreal. One of the better defensive performances I could ever remember seeing in any game.
Yeah, it's definitely a red flag though for the Grizzlies when Shea's been this bad in terms of efficiency, and you still can't win a game. I thought Shea was horrible. I know he had 31 points. He was so bad in the fourth quarter of that game, and they won anyway. He had the assist to Dort. Dort somehow made a layup over Edey. I don't know how that went in. And he got fouled on a three-pointer. That was the only thing that Shea did in the last 8 minutes of the game, and it didn't matter because J-Dub got some shots, and mostly Chet. Chet lost his mind. They got in transition. They played well, but I thought Shea, despite having 31, really did not look good, and he was 10 of 26 from the floor, and they still can't beat this damn team. So we're one game away from the Grizzlies being 0-8 against this team this season. Not good. So keep that in mind. Tickets were $7, by the way. So you saw an all-time great comeback if you went to the game for $7. I do want to ask you, though, because it was the main talking point. I feel pretty strongly about it, but I'm going to ask you first. The Dort foul, intentional, accidental, dirty, how do you want to call it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he just slipped, to be honest. I think he just slipped and was reaching up, and it just so happened. I think it's just a freak accident. I don't think he did it intentionally at all. I mean, you can see his foot slipping. He was trying to contest, and then his foot slipped, and he kind of just lost control of his limbs, and just happened. I mean, it's basketball. I don't think.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
People immediately thought that Dort intentionally tried to kill Morant, and I just didn't see that at all. I saw a 2-on-1 where he was committed to trying to stop the first layup. Then he tried to pivot and turn to guard the second guy once the pass was dropped off to Ja, and he slipped, as you said before. He also tried to reach up for the ball, and just coincidentally, their bodies collided there. But at no point did I think Dort looked at Ja and said, I'm going to try to kill this guy while we're down 29 points. I didn't see that happening personally. I thought that it was just an unfortunate set of circumstances where Dort tried to stop the 2-on-1. He did foul. He did stop the 2-on-1. You forced some free throws. But the point is he ended up colliding with Ja. I didn't think it was dirty. I thought it was just unlucky, and that's how it worked itself out. But now, of course, social media ran with it, calling Dort the dirtiest player in the league, talking about suspension, all this other stuff. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought the Batadze one was a lot worse to Porzingis by comparison. I don't even think he meant to kill Porzingis either, but that was just a reckless, hands moving all over and you elbow the guy in the head, UFC style. The Dort one wasn't as bad. I just thought that he slipped trying to pivot to guard the second guy, and he bumped into him. So that's kind of how I looked at it, but it's unfortunate because Ja's probably not going to play in Game 4, and the Thunder are laying 14.
Yeah,
so it is over. It was over anyway, but now it is over. But anyway, point is, if you want to go for Game 4, it was $7 for Game 3. You might get it for $2 in Game 4.
Might give them out free.
You might get. They might be handing out tickets at the local stores. Maybe if you want to go into some type of promo deal, they might have something. Classic meme. Somebody broke into my car. They left 4 tickets. One of those memes might be going around. But nice comeback for OKC though.
Definitely.
Chet was great. Caruso jumped off the page to me. I thought Caruso was, once again, Shea had 31. I thought Caruso in that second half was arguably the best player in that fourth quarter. He was an absolute monster. I thought Caruso was everywhere. He had 3 steals in the fourth quarter. He had the layup after the Shea missed dunk. He also bricked the layup really badly and then got his own rebound and gave it to Hartenstein, who made 1 of 2 free throws. But did he miss both, actually? I don't remember. Point is, Caruso, I thought was great.
Yeah.
Full A+ grade for him. The Giddy for Caruso trade's definition of a win-win trade in the dictionary. Both teams got better, and damn, Caruso, when healthy, is really, really good. He's an easy first or second team all-defensive guy if he play enough games. Guy's an absolute monster.
Yep.
Anyway, do want to ask you about Denver, though, because I know that it's a one-game situation. It was a good environment and into it. First home playoff game there for the Clippers. The Nuggets just aren't good at basketball, and it's why I picked the Clippers to win this in 6. I understand the argument is Joker's a monster. We saw it. He had 26, what do you have, 23, 13, and 13, 26, 13, and 13.
Yeah, something around there.
And they scored 83 points.
Yep.
They're just not good. Porter Jr. is injured now. I know he took his lower on his points in the Underdog. We lost it because Joker didn't score enough points.
Right.
But the point is Porter Jr. at 7. Westbrook couldn't hit a three-pointer. airballed one, got injured, he left early. What do they have? They just don't have enough talent to beat this team.
Yeah, just not enough. Just not enough horses in the stable. I mean, and the Clippers put on literally a team performance. Like everybody played well. I mean, shout out to Harden for playing. He's playing really well. It's only 3 games, but he's been playing really well, consistent. He had a few blunders here and there, but I think that came through the foul trouble early on in game.
He had those 2 3-pointers, and he had an and one in the first quarter, which kind of swung momentum back to the Clippers, and they never let go of it at that point.
Yeah, man, and I think they have a fantastic game plan on Joker, just kind of making him score and forcing him to force the issue and not get those guys going. I mean, him and Jamal Murray had over half of their points, if I'm not mistaken, right? 23 and 26 and 21 or something like that.
It was a mess. It was really, really bad.
Yeah, and although it's still a 1-game sample size, they can come back here and kind of be more competitive. I just don't think in the long haul they'll be able to beat this team. They got to beat them 3 out of the next 4. No, I don't think that's happening. Maybe they'll get one in game 5, but I think this one will be over game 6. Like to your point, 6 games in LA. That was a really good crowd. Really good.
You can honestly argue 5 because if Westbrook's out, and I know Westbrook has been kind of up and down all series and all season, he's the only bench player basically worth a damn on this team. They have no bench anyway.
Yeah. So, arguable, but I mean, I think they'll come out with a little bit more effort, maybe a little bit more execution. I know they don't have the horses, but with Joker, I don't think it can ever be counted out per se on a game by game basis. But just how it's going and how he kind of lost his. We're not used to seeing Joker, act out in that.
He's been doing it for a lot of the season because he knows his team isn't very good. He's
right.
Pissed off.
But you see him on the bench, that's just as most.
I would be. My team's got 83 points. I got a 23-point triple-double. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, so he was pretty demonstrative, and I think that pretty much sums up the season. And they just don't have the horses to fight with, and not with the Clippers. Like maybe if there was somebody else, they would be fine, but not against the Clippers and what they're rolling out, especially with those 2 elite basketball minds in Ty Lue and Jeff Van Gundy. That's just, I think it's just too much right now.
When it comes down to my favorite series props and lines entering the first round, my favorite play was the Clippers. I was never wavering. I thought the Clippers were, honestly, you could argue that they are the much better team, which I think they are. They should
I don't think it's arguable. I don't think it's arguable.
It should be up 3-0. I'm saying going into the series. I thought that it was really not in question. They should be up 3-0. I mean, they punted away game 1. They won game 2, and then game 3 was an absolute rout. Denver does not have enough talent, and it's why I did a tier thing a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and I called the Nuggets title pretenders. Because I didn't take them seriously. I don't think they're very good. You're looking at the roster and Porter Jr. streaky. Jamal Murray's actually been pretty good. It doesn't matter. They just aren't good enough. And you're looking at Kawhi, you're looking at Harden, you're looking at Powell, you're looking at Zubac. They have so many guys. Even Chris Dunn made some threes yesterday. You're getting production from a lot of guys. Batum at 12 off the bench, which is a blessing in itself too.
Absolutely.
I don't think Denver's got enough talent. So this might be a 5-game series, actually. That wouldn't shock me either. But we'll see what happens. Of course, that game 4 is going to come up in a day or 2. Anyway, time to move on into the games for the Friday card. Before we get into that, though, a reminder that you can find the SGPN picks and actual podcasts in one easy location. The SGPN app on the App Store. So download it for free on the App Store. Plus, a reminder, we are brought to you by EdgeBoost, because they have the first ever bank account built for bettors. You can also make sure that all of your gambling transactions are approved by using the EdgeBoost card. At no usage fees and no imbalance. You can also get cashback rewards and 100% approval on every betting deposit. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN, and a reminder, deposit $25, EdgeBoost will match your deposit. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by MyBookie, because MyBookie.ag is the place in every sport. They have props on every game. They also have the NBA playoffs. They have the NHL playoffs. They have baseball. They have tennis, you name it. Point is, though, you can also use MyBookie for notifications. You can also use crypto for letting fast payouts into deposits at MyBookie.ag with the promo code SGPN for a 100% match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast. Finish recapping what happened on a Thursday. Time to move on into the 3 games for the Friday card. Starting off with what has been a pretty awful series as expected. Celtics taking on the Magic. Celtics are laying 4.5. You're looking at the over-under at 197.5. A reminder that game 3 was 190, or game 2, was 195.5, and that went over by about 14 points. So keep that in mind. But the Celtics are up 2-0. It's really never been a sweat. The Magic made it close a couple of times in game 2, but I feel like nobody ever thought they're going to win the game. The injury report, though, Tatum is most likely going to miss this game as well. And Drew Holiday is questionable for this game with a hamstring strain. The Magic have nobody listed, but they can't shoot. And you're looking at Penny Hardaway and Shaq not walking through that door. So I'll ask you for this matchup. You have no Tatum, potentially no Drew Holiday. The Magic can't shoot, though. What do you like in this game? Because Jaylen Brown walked into whatever he wanted, and I feel like Boston just has too much scoring depth.
Yeah, I think they do. But I like Orlando here. I like them early on simply because of the factor they have been competitive early on the road. So I think at home they get to get their normal routine. Now they can't shoot better. Usually teams shoot better at home. I think they maybe shoot slightly better at home, but they still can't shoot. So I think their routine and going through that and having something to build on throughout the first half. I mean, they were within, striking distance in the first half of both of these games, and the first game was with Tatum. So Drew a little bit banged up. I think that actually helps the Magic if he's, somewhat limited because they can get him off of one of those. I think it doesn't matter with Paolo who they put on him, but Franz, he has to play a lot better. He's been shooting the ball horribly, I think simply because of what we've seen from him in the regular season, the little bit that he did play due to injury. He has to be somewhat of that player and not what we've seen. We saw this last year in the playoffs against the Cavs. He had somewhat of a shooting drought where he just was getting left wide open. And I mean, I know he's better than what the percentages show to me, at least what he's shown through the regular season. So I like Orlando I think they can win this game, man. I think Orlando can win this game. I mean, their crowd isn't like one of the most hostile. I don't think you give them a ton for home court, but I think the line is indicative of what the odds makers think is going to happen in this game. I mean, so I like the Magic plus 4.5. I still like the under. Not really a shot away from what happened last game. I think we'll see more slower pace. Magic were playing with a little bit more pace early on, but they kind of got back to their ways late in that second half. But I expect a lot more of the second half than the first half for the Magic. So I think rock fight 95, 94-ish. I think so.
Yeah, it's a situation where I think it could be similar to the Grizzlies game, not to the same degree, but your team down 2-0, you show desperation, you come out there and you punch the other team in the mouth. I can see that happening. The problem is they really have nobody who could shoot, and that's the series issue. Caldwell Pope got paid a bunch of money. He's been awful. Said he banked in a jump shot last game. That was the only shot he made. He's just been terrible for the entire series. Franz can't shoot. He has a hitch in his jump shot again, which is not fun. But you're looking at Cole Anthony, who hasn't really done anything either. Wendell Carter Jr. actually played well in game 2, and it didn't matter in the end. He made a 3 in the corner as well. They just don't have enough shooting. I see Christian asking if they should double team Paolo. I would not, because nobody else can score. If you've been winning all these games anyway, let Paolo drop 30, stop everyone else, and you win. Yeah. I wouldn't change anything. I think that Paolo can drop, once again, a 30, a solid game, and nobody else does anything. And you still win. So that would be my strategy. I would keep using what you've been doing, which is force Paolo to work. Now, Holiday potentially not playing should easily make Boston's defense worse. Still probably good enough to win this game, but we know Drew is one of the best defenders in the league. He's at least viewed that way from a help defense perspective. And he can switch on to bigger guys. He's been decent against Paolo so far in the series. Paolo's been good anyway because they keep not getting Drew to switch on him, which is probably the right move for Orlando. If Orlando won a game, it'd be this game. But Boston right now is playing with house money. They're sitting Tatum because they know they're going to win the series anyway, and they won game 2 anyway without Tatum. So they're going to sit him. Holiday might not play. We'll see. It really comes down to if anybody on Orlando can hit a jump shot. That's what the entire game comes down to, because if Orlando is able to get a little bit of contribution from the three-point line, they can definitely win this game. Will they get that? I have no damn idea. Give me Orlando. I'll plus the points.
Yeah.
I'll go with the under in this game.
Yeah.
If Orlando's going to win, they need to shut down Boston offensively. I'm banking on Jaylen Brown not dropping 36 again. I thought besides Brown, they did a very good job defensively. It felt like a lot of guys didn't get much space. I think that's what you need to do again. I will go with Orlando with you, but I'm not going to bet this. I don't have any confidence at all, but I don't want to lay 4.5. It's like Boston keeps pushing the envelope. Tatum didn't play in this game. So what if we did Tatum and no Drew Holiday? Can we still win the game? That they're slowly adding people to sit to see what they can get away with? I'll go with Orlando at home. Why not? Play the music. I think that maybe they'll win 1.
Yeah.
I had Boston in 5, and I was banking on my initial prediction of the series. Boston winning game 1 and game 2 comfortably, then losing game 3, and then winning 4 and 5.
Yeah.
That's where I was at. I'll stick with that script. Give me Orlando with you. I'll go with the under. Once again, Orlando's going to have to make it ugly, and I think Boston offensively will struggle on the road compared to their home court. So give me the Magic once again and give me the under in this game. I'm assuming you co-sign the under because Orlando has to win a game where neither team reaches 100 points, basically.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's going to be a low 90s. Well, one team high 90s. Hopefully it's the Magic. So I got Magic winning 98-95.
Yeah, I was in the camp of like 95-92, so we're on the same.
Yeah, that's right.
Same one. But I think it'll be one possession.
Yeah.
If you want to go Orlando, I wouldn't mind Orlando 1-10. Because I don't see them blowing out Boston. Maybe you could argue that if they fall behind early, Boston will let go of the rope. But I don't think Orlando's good enough offensively to fully dominate this game and win by 20. Like, the Grizzlies went crazy from 3 in the first quarter. That's why they went up by so much. And they're also an up-tempo team.
Yeah.
This just screams 2006 basketball. And Orlando might win this game reaching the low 90s. So Orlando 1-10, I think is a decent option if you want to go for a bit more of a plus money play. But I think it'll be a low-scoring game regardless. Anyway, I'm moving on to the next game. You have the Pacers against the Bucks, which you could argue is the most important game on the card tonight because the Lakers and Timberwolves are tied 1-1. So you could argue that even if Minnesota loses the game later tonight, not as big of a deal. Also, you have trade implications here because if the Bucks end up losing handily to Indiana, they extended their GM, by the way. Good luck with that for Milwaukee, down 2-0. Might be the first ever GM to ever get extended down 2-0 in a series. But Giannis might get traded this offseason, and it feels like the rumors and the rumblings are growing louder and louder. And Milwaukee's got nothing going for him right now. They have nothing. So if Giannis ends up getting traded this offseason, I think it's actually very understandable. The question is if Giannis has the, I'd say, personality to force a trade out publicly. I think he would. He quietly got his coach fired in Griffin. And you can make the argument that he also got Budenholzer fired, but he never got blamed for it. You can make an argument that he might move in silence, but there are some moves there, like Lid GM, who doesn't state stuff publicly, but of course he is kind of moving some stuff around behind the scenes. First of all, we'll talk about this trade scenario, because I do think, of course, Milwaukee wins this game and wins the series, then it's all a moot point anyway. But it's fun to think about. If the Bucks end up losing this game, and they end up losing either 4-0 or 4-1, or you know what, even in the first round, they just lose any score in the first round. Do you think this is the final playoff series that Giannis plays in Milwaukee?
No, I don't think so. I think he'll be there. I think they'll probably end up just not signing Dame and trying to get some veteran pieces or whatever the case may be. I don't know. They're going to have to do something. I don't think it's going to involve Giannis, at least not yet. I mean, unless he comes out and says that. But I don't think he's that kind of guy. I think he is just. I mean, he's not. I don't want to say his legacy is stamped, but I mean it's pretty close. I mean, he's got 2 MVPs, a DPOY. He's got a ring. He's got a Finals MVP. So they can be a little bit more patient. I don't know how bad he wants to win. And I mean, I don't think this series is over. I really don't. I mean, I think that.
I don't think it's over either. We're going to talk about the game in a second.
But I don't think he's played. I don't think he's played his last. Well, I don't think this will be his last series.
I'm just throwing it out there first. We'll talk about the game in a second. But I just wanted to know your thoughts on if you think the rumors and everything are overblown.
Yeah.
If you think there's actually fire to the smoke.
Yeah, I think it's overblown. I don't think it's
smoke to the fire to the smoke.
Yeah, I don't think it's much to do about it.
It's fire to the smoke, I think, because you see the smoke and then you got to go find the fire.
Yeah, either way, I don't think it's any logical piece behind it. I don't really agree with it.
Just throwing it out there because that's the main talking point behind the series.
Yeah, they got to talk about something.
It does not look good for Milwaukee right now.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. They got a lot. They got a long hill to climb out of.
But anyway, moving on to the actual game. I hope he goes to the Nets for the record, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, do want to ask you for this game, since we just talked about how Giannis might get traded, we'll see. Tell me why Milwaukee wins this game by 15 points.
Yeah, I love the Bucks in this spot, man. I think they are going to be fired up. Dame has got that game under his belt. He didn't play. He played well in the first half. I think he had 3 points in the second half. He had 11 in the first half. He kind of got – and you know what? He was playing with a lot. He was playing a lot more heavier minutes. I think he played the entire first quarter. Maybe came out like the last minute and a half. But I thought his conditioning was really good. He paced himself really well. The Bucks still have to get a little bit more contributions from the bench. I think AJ Green needs to play a little bit better. I know he's not as good as he was in game 1. He's not as bad as he was in game 2, probably somewhere in the middle. So I think you got to find that median for the Bucks.
At least for spacing, you need him out there because they can't stop Giannis. You need somebody to space the floor.
Exactly. So, and I think Portis will continue. He won't continue to score in that rate, but I think he'll be more consistent in that, 13 to 17 point range is what you need from him. But I think it all comes down to defense. They got to be able to stop those. They got to bring Brook Lopez up higher in that drop coverage, because we know the Pacers live in the mid range. They love the mid range off the high pick and roll. So I think it starts with the defense. And I think defense is the most easily adjustable thing that you can do, especially at home in a series, because it starts with, number one, effort. And then number two, you just got to be able to focus and lock in on what the game plan is. And the Pacers, being that they can hit you in so many different ways, you have to be able to at least cut off something. So you can't let Siakam get to his mid-range. You can't let Nembhard have open threes. You can't have what's my guy's name? Nesmith, corner threes. Like, you have to cut off at least 2 or 3 things.
Nesmith was 16 points. Is kind of crazy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And he had like 0, I think, in the first quarter and a half.
That's what I'm saying. He kind of went off. He was 4 or 5 from 3.
Yeah, so you can't let these guys get into a rhythm. Like, okay, if Siakam's going to have a good game, let's limit everybody else. Like, okay, that's fine. But because there's guys too good to just shut down everything. But you have to at least show some kind of fight. And I think that starts with their interior defense, because the Pacers, people think the Pacers are like a fast-paced three-point shooting team. That's not what they do. They shoot a lot of mid-range and get to the rim. So I think you have to cut that off first and force them to beat you. You got to force them into turnovers. We know Hallie doesn't really turn the ball over, but I think ball pressure and 2-point defense is going to be the key, and why the Bucks win this game. Offensively, I think the Bucks will be fine. I think Giannis and Dame will combine for somewhere around like 65, 70. And I think they'll win this game handily. So I like the Bucks in the spot. I love the over as well.
Yeah, so even though I just talked about I want Giannis to get traded to my team, I do think Milwaukee wins this game comfortably. You're looking at Dame, who I thought was horrible in his first game back, but that's expected. I mean, what do you want from the guy? He hasn't played in about a month. He was 4 of 13, played 37 minutes, 14 points, 7 assists. He was not very good, but Giannis looked great, but 34, 18, and 7. I mean, guy's an absolute monster. Shout out to the guy who made his own clock, though, for the Giannis counting. Respect for the effort there for the Pacers fan. The issue for Milwaukee, forgetting about the offense for a second, they can't get a stop. The defense has been a mess. They're trying to switch everything. They're not good enough to actually switch everything. Guys are wide open. They were down a ton in game 2, made a massive comeback in that fourth quarter. And then the biggest possession defensively of the entire game, Siakam ends up with a wide open practice 3, and he drills it. Like, you can't have that bad of a miscommunication in the biggest defensive possession of the season up to that point, and he's wide open by 20 feet. Like, that kind of sums up how bad this defense is right now. Yep. And the Pacers have been shooting lights out from 3, mainly because a lot of their looks are wide open.
Literally.
The problem for the Bucks also is that Halliburton, we know, is a pass-first point guard. He can score. The assists have been good, though. But Halliburton's 3 of 17 from 3, and they're still scoring like 120 points per game. It's a problem. Milwaukee's got to switch their coverage. They can't guard. It's ugly. They're not even close. It feels like Indiana's 3 steps ahead on every possession. I'm hoping they end up switching some things up. I see Dex mentioning that they should bench Lopez. I mean, Lopez is there for floor spacing too. Truth is, Lopez, I'm not going to call him fully washed. He's nowhere near the guy he used to be. He's nowhere near the guy he used to be. He can't move as well anymore laterally. He's getting killed in pick and roll switches. If you want to go Portis and Giannis as your front court, and you want to go forward with that combo, I'm not against it. If you want to try that. If you want to try to triple down and go with Lopez, Giannis, and Portis, that's an option. I mean, Lopez doesn't really rebound much, and he's also more of a three-point guy. It's like Jaren Jackson Jr. models his entire game after Brook Lopez. But the point is, you know what I'm trying to say. I know, you never thought about that until now.
I didn't. That's a good one.
There's a comp there.
That's a good one.
But the point is, I do think you're looking at the Bucks, who should bounce back at home. Even though they lost because they fell apart again late in that fourth quarter, I respected the effort. Indiana looked like they were going to win game 2 by 30, and Milwaukee made it a 2-possession game. Might have been a 1-possession game.
Before Siakam hit that 3, Dame had hit a 3 and cut it to 2.
Yeah, they cut it to 2 or 3. So once again, Milwaukee, despite playing that badly defensively, for the majority of that game, they were actually in the thick of it. They fell apart again, but I like the effort they showed. They could have rolled over. They didn't. I think Milwaukee builds on that. I think Indiana, even though they've looked good this series, a lot of role players hitting a bunch of threes. Nembhard, you're looking at Nesmith, you're looking at a lot of guys stepping up. I see, of course, the classic cliche, role players playing worse on the road. I think Milwaukee's guys step up. I love Portis' points in this game. 13 that's way too low. Guy 28 in game 2. 6 threes? I didn't know that was your game, Portis. I didn't know you had that in your game.
I don't know if it is his game.
It might not be, but historically, he's kind of owned Indiana. I think 13.5 is very low, and he's going to have to play a ton of minutes. He played 33 or so in game 2. I thought he was their second best player in game 2, easily behind Giannis. He has to play. You're looking at the bench for Milwaukee. It's not pretty. You're looking at Kevin Porter Jr., who played, I think it was single digit, or what do you have? He played 15 minutes at 9 points. The most noteworthy moment was him getting a flagrant, grabbing
his leg,
It was Thomas Bryant's.
Yeah, Thomas Bryant's leg, yeah.
So the point is that he has been an up and down wild card, and it seemed like the tempers got the better of him in game 2. AJ Green played 12 minutes. Trent Jr. played 30. He took 4 shots. He had 4 points. And you're looking at Portis, who played 32 and had 28 points. You're going to have to use him. Kuzma was better in game 2. I mean, he couldn't be worse than game 1, but he had 12 points in game 2. Lillard didn't look great, but I do think that Lopez only playing 16 does tell me that Portis has to play a ton of minutes in this game. Give me Portis Jr. for his points. 13.5's too low for a guy that really should play 30-plus minutes in this game. That's my thoughts on that. I know you had Portis in the 13 to 17 range. 14 through 17 is good for me.
Yeah, I mean,
13 is bad for me, but 13.5 minus 110 feels very low for a guy that, historically speaking, has been great against the Pacers. He has had at least 14 points in, I believe, 8 of his last 10 against the Pacers. I'll take that. So that's my main prop for this game. I'll go with Milwaukee, though, with you. Think they'll bounce back. I'm not picking Indiana to bury this team in 4 or 5. I am picking 6, or maybe, once again, 5 or 6, but I know, actually, it could be 5 or 6 maybe, but I do think Indiana will win the series, but I am going to pick it to be a bit closer than people expect right now. Give me the Bucks to win one, and a must-win game. Milwaukee jumps them. I think they win this game by 10. So that's my thoughts on that one. Total's interesting, though, because Indiana might cool off, but maybe Milwaukee drops 120. So I'll ask you for your total. Think I'll go under for this game, hoping that Doc Rivers, I know I'm asking a lot here, makes one change to his defensive coverage. Please stop switching everything. It's not working. But I'll go with the under. Indiana regresses. Milwaukee plays well. Game lands in the 220s.
Yeah, I'm kind of indifferent on it. I would just take
I'm not going to bet the total. But
I would take the Bucks team total over. But I agree with what you were saying. I think, like I mentioned earlier in the breakdown, I mean, I think they have to play better defensively in the paint. And they got to force those guys to at least with a hand in their face, at least, because they're getting so many wide open looks. But I'll take the Bucks team total over. If I had to play it, I probably would play full game over, just because I think the Pacers offense is just so good and they got so many guys that they're going to score, and the Bucks maybe can just outscore them in this game versus stopping them. So I would go over, but my favorite, something I will be on, will be the Bucks team total over.
Yeah, I think once again Milwaukee might do well offensively. Indiana, I think, might regress. So I'll go with Milwaukee in Game 3. If they lose Game 3, damn, it's going to be rough in that building. Rough. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, moving on to the last game. You have the Lakers taking on the Timberwolves. Timberwolves laying 3.5. The over-under's at 206.5. Over money coming in. I saw it was around 205. Now it's at 206.5. Game 2 was very ugly. It was expected because the Lakers lost Game 1. Naz Reid and McDaniels both did not make about 80% of their shots again. And you saw the Lakers hold the Timberwolves to 85. The energy was great. I thought that they looked fantastic. 33 combined points, though, in the fourth quarter is just disgusting. But you're looking at Antu at 25, Randall at 27. Nobody else had more than 9 on the entire Timberwolves team. So I don't expect that to happen again. Randall, though, was really good, even though he was a minus 14 on the team. But I do think that he played well offensively. Nobody else did anything, and that's why the Timberwolves shot 38% from the floor and 20% from 3. For the Lakers, LeBron looked solid at 21, 11, and 7. 8 of 19 shooting, but still played well. Besides that, Luka had 31, 12, and 9. He might be the best first quarter scorer of all time. just walks into 13 points every first quarter, and nobody can stop him. But for the other contributors in this game, Reeves played better in this game as he had 16 points. 0 of 6 from 3, though, which is kind of wild, but he still had 16 points. Finney-Smith made a couple shots. Vincent, I thought, was good energy-wise. And it mostly just came down to Minnesota not making any shots. And despite that, there was a little bit of a worry for Lakers fans for maybe a minute, where the Timberwolves cut it to like 9 when they were down 20. But I'll ask you, do you think Minnesota should be favored in this game, or are you picking them to win this game?
Yeah, rightfully favored. I think the number is spot on. I struggled with this game simply because I can see a path for each team. Obviously, you knew that Timberwolves were not going to shoot that well in Game 2 or anytime. They probably won't shoot that well for the rest of the playoffs.
Well, I took the under in Game 2 because I cashed the under in Game 1, and McDaniels with 11 of 13 from the floor.
Yeah, right. So I mean, and they're not as bad as they shot in Game 2 either, but they're somewhere in the middle. And especially with the way that it was distributed with Daniels and Naz Reid is a decent shooter as well. But I mean, I think you can look back at that box score, and the Lakers didn't shoot the ball well. They didn't play particularly well in certain spots.
I thought both teams looked horrible, but the Lakers at least had two guys that could actually score efficiently with Luka and LeBron. And
I think Luka just played so well early on. It kind of just allowed the Lakers to play through some mistakes. And granted, they played a lot harder than they did in Game 1. I mean, that's what desperation will do for you. I just think that they can play a lot better. I mean, those role players. You mentioned Reeves. He hasn't shot the ball well at all. Rui has been bad as well. So I think what the Lakers will have to do, they're going to have to do something to kind of slow down the role players here, because I don't think that McDaniels and Naz Reid and a lot of those guys are going to be, a lot better at home. But they won't be the first Game 1. They won't be Game 1 good.
No, the name I'll mention offensively instead of McDaniels would be DiVincenzo.
Yeah, DiVincenzo is a good one as well. And I think obviously you're going to see less Rudy and more Naz Reid, which means I think you're going to have to play Rui at the 5 a lot more because he's a lot better in space than what Jackson Hayes is.
Do you think that's true, though? You think we actually see less Gobert?
I think so. Because
I thought Gobert looked horrible in Game 2 offensively, but according to some of the actual defensive numbers, he actually played pretty well. But I mean, Reid was in foul trouble the entire game.
Yeah,
Reid commits some of the dumbest fouls. He's 3 and he rams Reeves on a screen and then gets mad at the ref. And I'm like, you clearly just decapitated the guy. Like, what are you trying to do here? But I don't know about the whole Gobert situation. He looks so bad offensively, and he can't catch the ball. He has pure butterfingers, and I thought he missed out on like 6 free points by dropping the ball on some rebounds, etc. But the Lakers with Rui, you mentioned how bad he's looked offensively. Defensively, though, their best lineup might be Rui or LeBron at center. Yeah, and they kind of go small there. So Rui actually has been playing well defensively. I'll give him props on that. I think that's kind of the pivot, is that Rui might just be on the court a ton because of the defensive lineup they want to run out there, which would, in theory, benefit Gobert if you think he catches lobs and everything. And defensively, he can clog the middle. But do you think we're going to see more Reid and less Rui? And less, not Rui, less Rudy, I mean.
Let's go Barry, yeah. I think you'll see that to match, because they're not playing Jackson Hayes. So that means Rudy would have to be forced to be on the perimeter a little bit more, which opens up the driving lanes. And granted, Rudy's not the Lakers obviously have a size deficiency, but he's not the guy that you're going to throw the ball to and say, hey, go get a bucket like Joker or Embiid or one of those guys. So he can't really capitalize on what their weakness is.
For a guy that calls for the ball every possession, he really still can't catch.
Yeah, so I'm going to take the Lakers in a 3.5. I think it'll be important to do what the Knicks did early on, which is come out, control the first 4 or 5 minutes, make them call the first timeout, and keep the crowd out of the game. And obviously they're going to, make their runs. They're going to make a few shots. I think we haven't seen a good Ant game. I'm also worried about Ant and that shoulder. He was noticeably kind of doing the little shoulder shrug and so I'm worried about that. It didn't stop him on the dunk, but as he went on, you can kind of see him favoring it a little bit more. But I think the Lakers are going to have a good game plan here to withstand some of the things that those role players are going to do. And again, I don't think the Lakers have played a full complete game yet. I guess you could say the same thing about the Timberwolves outside of the shooting performance of those two guys. But I like the Lakers plus the 3.5. I think this game goes similarly to what we saw with Detroit and the Knicks last night. So I'm going to take the 3.5. I don't really have a thought on the total. Maybe you do.
Yeah, total, it's honestly tricky because Minnesota can't shoot that badly, but the Lakers also only scored 94 points. So I'm kind of just stuck. I'm really not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, me
The
too. Same
total
way.
is so
I'm the same way.
tricky in this game.
Yeah.
Because they combined for 33 points in the fourth quarter. But
Yeah,
every
I expect the
quarter,
Lakers offense to play. I expect the Lakers to hit shots. I mean, I don't know what they shot in there. I don't know if you still have it up, but
they
I
shot
think they shot
45.3%, but both teams shot below 21% from three.
exactly. Yeah, and so free throw disparity. I think Minnesota will get a few more calls, obviously at home, but again, they they weren't really driving the ball a ton to put pressure on the Lakers defense. So is that going to change? I'm not sure. But I think the Lakers will have a good game plan. Like I said, they got to just start out early and make them call the first time out. I think if you make them call the first time out, that's a win, and you kind of just withstand the storm from there. You got room for error. So that's what I like. I like the Lakers 3.5.
Yeah, for the total, I guess I'll go with the under just based on what I've seen so far in the series, but there's no chance I bet the total in this game. I have no interest at all. I'll go with the Lakers as well. Going into this series, once again, maybe just a bit of stubbornness. I did have Lakers, and I think I had 5, actually. I had the Lakers kind of winning the series comfortably, and then Minnesota hit every shot in game 1.
Mhm.
I do think, unless you see the role players from Minnesota play extremely well, I just like the Lakers offense so much more than the Timberwolves because you have LeBron, you have Luka, even Reeves, who has not shot the ball well, still at 16 last game. They just have more options for me. And Luka and LeBron are very good in ISO. They can get downhill. Luka, especially, we know, is going to dance on everybody, especially
Yep.
Gobert on all the switches.
Yep.
For Minnesota, besides Ant, I know you get the Randall bully ball ISO. Do you really like anybody else's chance of creating their own shot? It's kind of the problem that I have with this team. Reeves can create his own offense, and he can get other guys involved. So if you want to give up possession a break for Luka and LeBron to conserve energy, you can do that. You can also stagger minutes if you need to with the bench unit. Minnesota just doesn't have that. And I feel like when you're looking at the offensive depth of what should be a low-scoring series, very physical series, and we've seen that so far in these 2 games, unless DiVincenzo and you're looking at Reed and McDaniels hit their shots, it's really Ant and a bunch of, role players that you're hoping step up. And I am calling Julius Randle, I don't want to say a role player, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Minnesota played right into what the Lakers wanted them to do. Hey, Randle, knock yourself out. Take as many shots as you want. Bully ball all you
Randle
want.
made a lot of them.
Yeah, and that's fine. I think that's fine.
Randle taking 17 shots, 9 of 17, and he went to the line 9 times.
Yeah, that's fine.
He was still a minus 14.
Yeah,
you can argue that defensively, Randle's still not doing much because they're going to also get him in switches. But Randle was actually pretty efficient offensively.
Yeah,
he only had 1 turnover. That's not going to happen in game 3.
Yeah.
Randle had 27 points with 1 turnover.
Yeah, let him do it.
Not sustainable. So I agree with you. I think playoff Randle was solid in game 2, but there are a lot of underlying concerns that Randle might now think a bit highly of himself going into game 3 and might start forcing some stuff, and that's not going to go well.
Yeah, best thing you do is have to make a few shots. And
I'll go with the Lakers in this one.
Yeah,
I did pick the Lakers in 5. As of right now, I'm sticking with it. I'm not going to waver. But I do think the only series I wavered on, the Pacers I think are going to win the series. So I am wavering on that one a bit. But I did like the Grizzlies to win a game. I immediately pivoted off of that in game 1. So I do have the Thunder in 4, so I guess that was my readjustment. But I'm going to stay with Lakers in 5. Minnesota should win a home game, but I do think that Minnesota being favored by 3.5 feels a bit much to me. I think the Lakers are better, and I don't think Minnesota's shown much for me to assume they should be taking care of home court. A reminder, in the series last year against Denver, they were up 2-0, and they lost both home games pretty handily. So I'm not sold on the home court here. Give me the Lakers, and for the sake of it, give me the under in this game. Anything else you want to add for props or for just takeaways or anything for this?
One thing that JJ did do in the second game that he didn't do in the first game was take Luka more off ball. He put him in pin downs and let LeBron kind of initiate. He also put the ball in Austin Reeves' hands a little bit more, and I think Austin is struggling because of Ant is playing him extremely tough. You know, they were together during the Olympics, so he's having to try to find his way. And then when he's getting those open looks, it's like, oh man, I'm open. So he's kind of rushing a little bit. But overall, I think he's sticking to it. He's still being aggressive. He's still getting the shots that he wants. But I think that's the reason why he's struggling. But taking Luka off ball more, getting a lot more ball movement instead of having him just run high pick and roll for 25 seconds or 22 seconds in the shot clock, I think is a big win. So I expect to see a lot more of that. Maybe get LeBron in the post more as well. But those are just some overarching things that I thought.
Yeah, I'll throw in one other prop in there. Give me Vanderbilt under 6.5 PRA. Played 8 minutes in game 2. It seems like one of the only shot I took, I think, was a 3-pointer attempt at the buzzer, and he airballed a 3-pointer. That's the only shot that he had the entire game. The point is Vanderbilt played 8 minutes, and that was not by coincidence. They just decided, listen, if you can't play offense, you can't play in the series. Because offensively, they need all the spacing they can get. If you want to throw in Hayes for 8 minutes to start, sure, that's fine. At least he can catch lobs and be a bit of an offensive rebounder. Vanderbilt, though, is going to be there to hound defensively. Besides that, though, he doesn't do anything. So you're looking at the Lakers wanting to go with, once again, Rui and LeBron as their small ball lineup, and you want the spacing. That's why you have it out there, because you want to pull Gobert out, and you want to try to open up lanes to actually attack the basket. You're just going to throw Gobert on Vanderbilt, dare him to shoot, and that's a complete waste of time. So I don't see Vanderbilt playing much. He had 1 PRA in game 2, and they won. So give me the under on the Vanderbilt PRA. I just don't see playing time for him here unless there's foul trouble. I want your thoughts, though, because Vanderbilt not playing game 1 was clearly intentional, and they won.
Yeah.
And I do think Vanderbilt, once again, just not playing was kind of a plus for the Lakers because they kept throwing at guys that could actually score the ball.
Yeah, this is not Darvin Ham, brother.
That's what I'm saying.
This is JJ Redick. Yeah, he is not.
6.5
he is
sounds
not
low, but he might only play like 7 minutes.
Yeah,
and he never looks to actually shoot.
Yeah, maybe.
Give me the under on PRA for Vanderbilt.
I'm with you. I agree with you 100%.
Okay. A point, though, that's going to wrap it up for the actual, once again, 3 games on the Friday card. Now it's time for the Lock and Dog picks. Before we get into the Lock and Dog, reminder they're brought to you by our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. You can play there on Pick'em. For trans 100 times your money, you can also use different sports. You can use the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. I know your team plays tonight. You got Carolina trying to go up 3-0 against New Jersey. If you want to go for the NBA, once again, you can go through player props, which is always fun. But a reminder, you could also use the baseball. You could also use the I know you could use the draft yesterday. You could use, for example, esports, MMA, all that stuff for your entry. But a reminder to sign up for your new account. Use the promo code NBASGPN. Especially when your first time does offer up 20 game bonus cash. And fantasy promo code NBASGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm because the home of EdBack picks and props. They're also live Major League Baseball. They have models on NBA and golf as well. They also build your own models. It's very easy to do. And they also have great discount deals for you. 25% off the monthly deal with the promo code HPN25, 50% off the annual deal for code HPN50. Once again, Rhythm, RATHM, promo code HPN25 or SGPN50. Welcome back, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast. Finished going through the 3 games for the Friday card. Now it's time for the Lock and Dog picks. Lonte, unfortunately, the Grizzlies don't play, so you got to pick somebody else. But what are you going to go with for the Lock and Dog for the show?
Yeah, so for the lock, I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Bucks minus 3.5 first quarter. I think they'll get off to a better start. They're minus 18 in the first quarter of the first 2 games, and I think that is a big part of why they couldn't get to the finish line, because they were exerting so much energy coming back that they just ran out of energy. And I think getting off to a good start, you got the home crowd behind you. Obviously, it's going to be a packed house. I think that they start off really, really well. Would not be surprised if they're up, 15 points at the end of the first quarter. I like Milwaukee in the first quarter minus 3.5. Small dog here. I'm going to learn my lesson, Scott. I'm going to take the Orlando Magic plus
first
110.
half, not full game.
Not plus 110 first quarter.
Oh, okay.
First quarter. Yeah. For that exact reason. Yeah.
Got to play the drop. Orlando Magic.
Yeah.
You got to play it. Anyway, for you're lucky Terrell's on the show. He'd yell at you for a plus 1.
Yeah, probably. He'll be
fine.
Right.
I don't care either way.
Yeah.
For baseball, I'm giving out plus 102s half the time.
Yeah, winner's the winner.
Yeah, that's true. I definitely agree with that. For my lock, I was going to actually go with somebody, but I think I'll go with his alt line instead. Let's have some fun with this. Give me Jared Vanderbilt under 6.5 PRA at minus 135. I think it's too high. I understand the argument is that Vanderbilt is such a low number. You can accidentally walk into some rebounds and assists. But you're thinking of his role on this team. His role is to not even look at the rim. They don't want him to even consider taking a shot. The one shot he took was an end of the third quarter three-pointer. Literally fell into his lap and he chucked it up, and he airballed by about 5 feet to the right. So they don't want him to shoot. 6.5, I know sounds low. He played 8 minutes in game 2, and I'll tell you what, the Lakers looked a lot better because in game 1, he played 13.5 minutes. He finished with 8 PRA, but I do think he's going to finish somewhere around that 8-minute threshold again. I just think it's a bad matchup for Vanderbilt. If you want to use him to hound Ant all the way out on the perimeter, that's fine. He might pick up some foul trouble pretty quickly, but we know he can't shoot. He knows he can't shoot. He doesn't look at the rim. It's like Ben Simmons without the passing ability out there, if you want to go for a comp. But minus 135, I'll go for it. I see BetMGM has his PRA listed. I see somebody asking where I could find that. I know it's on Underdog as well, if you have an Underdog account. But BetMGM does have Vanderbilt under 6.5 points, rebounds, and assists at minus 135. That'll be my lock. I think I'll finish with like 3, but we agree on this. We think that Vanderbilt, based on what the Lakers want to do with Rui and LeBron together in the small ball lineup that worked so well in game 2, you need shooters on the court. And I thought Vincent played pretty well. So once again, I'll fade Vanderbilt in this game as my lock. For my dog, I was going to go with the Bobby Portis points, but I decided to go for the alt line because, damn, he really needs to be out there for this game because they really don't have any scoring depth at all. I will go with Bobby Portis. By the way, if you want 20 plus 410, but I'll go with the over 16.5 points at plus 174. He had 28 in the last game. He's had at least 17 in 4 of the last 6 against Indiana. But once again, 16.5 points for a guy that had 28 in the last game at plus 174. I like the price. I'll go with that as my dog. So once again, give me Vanderbilt under 6.5 PRA at minus 135. For my dog, I'm going to go with Bobby Portis over 16.5 points at plus 174 on FanDuel. Now it's time for the Underdog entry. I do want to recycle Portis points at 13.5. Do we co-sign that?
Absolutely.
Cool. So we'll take that. Do we want to recycle Vanderbilt as well? Do you want to go with something else?
I like Hallie points higher. Back home, he's been getting great looks, just missing from 3.
Back home, by the way, because he's from Wisconsin.
Yeah, he's from Wisconsin. Yeah, I'm sorry. But I like Hallie's points higher.
Okay. Halliburton points are
should be 18.5.
I believe so. Let me check. His points are at 18.5.
Yeah, like that higher. Yeah.
Okay, so go with the higher on that too. And then
I don't mind the Vanderbilt thing.
It's so degen that I love it, you know?
Yeah, I don't really have another one that I loved.
6.5 is so funny.
Yeah, I don't really have another one that I loved outside of did I play anything? No, I didn't have anything else that I loved, so I mean that's fine.
Okay.
Unless you want to go Rudy under.
No, because I do wonder for adjustments, do they just start throwing a bit more lobs? I don't know.
Yes,
watching Rui, by the way, against an actual smaller guy is so painful to watch. It's such a waste of space.
And watching him, period, offensively is.
He's been in the league for 12 years. You can't learn anything in the post? Really?
Yeah.
I don't know what NBA players work on. I still remember Mitchell Robinson getting his 3-point video out there in the preseason like a year or 2 ago. You remember that?
Yeah, NBA offseason videos.
The open shoot around, and they did 0 points in like game 2 and game. Like, I don't know what half these centers are doing in the offseason, but whatever. Point is, for the Underdog entry, we're going to go with Bobby Portis higher, 13.5 points. Going to go with Halliburton higher, 18.5 points. We are going to go with Vanderbilt lower on his 6.5 points, rebounds, and assists. That's grab up, though, for this episode. Anyway, anything else you want to add for you on the show, Lonte?
Best of luck to everybody, man. Hopefully we can get some winners.
Yep. I do want to remind everybody, though, for the Saturday games, there will not be an episode tomorrow morning. We're going to be recording the Saturday games episode tonight. So Terrell and I will be back later on tonight to go through the games on Saturday. And then for the games on Sunday, I believe, Lonte, you're going to be doing the show with me, right?
When tomorrow? Saturday?
Saturday night?
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, so Saturday night, we're going to cover the games for Sunday. But once again, for the Saturday card, the game started 1 p.m. We will not have that in the morning. We're going to record again tonight. So keep an eye out for that. Until next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.